Hey everybody, Mrs. Bianchi. We're looking at question number 2. The high temperature in Fahrenheit each day for the last week in Silvertown are shown. Select 3 statements about this data set that are true. And here's the data set. I just rewrote it over here so we can organize our data and we have our calculator handy. So we have to find the mean, the median, and the mode of this data set. I usually recommend that what you should do first is order the data from least to greatest. So if we look through the data set and look for the numbers that are the lowest, I think it looks like 65 would be the lowest in the set. So I'll just put a check here and let's write it over here, 65. And then it looks like we have a bunch of 66s. So we have 1, 2, 3 of those. Let's write them all down. 1, 2, 3 of those. Move my calculator out of the way. And then we have, next would be, looks like a 68. A couple of those. Followed by a 70. All right, so next let's count to make sure we have them all. In the original data set, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 data points. In fact, I think it's a good idea to write that down, 7 data points. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 data points. All right, so to find the mean, we have to add up all these numbers and divide by how many there are, which we said there are 7. So let's take out the calculator and add it all up. So we have 65 plus 66 plus 66 plus 66 plus 68 plus 68 plus 70. And we get 469 as a sum. So I'm just going to write that down. Sum 469. All right, and then we're going to take that number and we're going to divide it by how many values there are, which again, there are 7. So we'll divide that by 7 and we get this number. All right, so let's look at the answer choices and see if that's a choice because they have 2 things for mean. So did we get 66 or did we get 67? All right, so let's talk about the median. The median, recall, is the number, when you put the numbers in order from least to greatest, it's the number that's in the middle. So since we have 7 data points, we're going to take 7 and we're going to divide that in half by dividing it by 2. And we get our midpoint would be 3 5/10. So let me write down midpoint, 3 5/10. And how do we get that? We took this and we divided it by 2. We took 7 and we divided by 2 to get the midpoint of 3 5/10. So if you have a whole number, you want to take that whole number and count in that many data points on the low end and on the high end. So we're going to count in 3 data points, 1, 2, 3 on the low end. And if we come in from the high end, 1, 2, 3 on the high end. And what's the number in the middle? We have this number. So is that a choice for median? Is it a choice? If it is, you should pick it. All right, so lastly, we need to find the mode. Now, the reason why it's helpful to put them in order from least to greatest is because you can see, we can see the frequency of things a little bit easier that way. It looks like 65 only occurs once, where 66 has a frequency of 3, 68 has a frequency of 2, and 70 has a frequency of 1. So the number that occurs most often in this data set is the 66, and therefore would be the mode.